guys like it. So let's just enjoy this. Born and raised in Sorokmai until I was 6, moved to Southern Cal until my sweet 16. Lived nearly 4 years in Northern Cal, returned to Fresno, my newly found home currently. Although it's not much movement, but it's still enough for me to realize what I don't need. Every time someone lay claim to a locale with whistles and yells, my body and mind and spirit stays calm because I cannot generate pride from any piece of land. Even though I try, I just can't. The cheering for one location would be the same as forgetting the memories from another. And memories I do hold tight to like trophies of the past hid away on dusty wooden shelves of my mind. This is why I have always found it difficult to dialogue between who I was and who I am and who I will become. Phnom Penh, Garden Grove, Anaheim, Berkeley, and oh, Fresno, you're hot like honey dripping onto my skin, humidity that takes me back to my Kampuchea. Although I've experienced cultural layers of California alone, the one thing that remained constant to me is my self-proclaimed identity. My feet and mind moving with the pace of time just to try to catch up to the American dream. A race, tracks laid out, ready for the gun to go, but my heart is firmly grounded to my roots, the roots of me like the maturing tree, branches swaying to and fro like the Cambodian saying goes. You must negotiate a river by following its bend, enter a country by following its custom, like Luk Ta Ta, Chlong Stung Tam Pot Chlong Srok Tam Prote. I guess I have. No, in fact, I have. It was never difficult to be a 1.8 generation immigrant, but this is not to say that it has been easy. Looking back at times when my parents had to work different shifts so they could arrange perfectly when their children would be fed and put to sleep. I'll never stop feeling guilty for asking them for more clothes, shoes, and other unnecessary luxury. But I will always be grateful to Ma and Lupa, who tried to feed my childish greed. Remembering the times in elementary when I could only say certain phrases, the typical yes, thank you, and no, sorry. And now look at me spilling out phrases, the tongue like a sharp knife kills without drawing blood like Buddha says. I always found it alarmingly strange when folks are surprised when I tell them I wasn't born here. Others compliment my apparent lack of accent as if it's supposed to be some sort of accomplishment. Oh, go ahead and excuse me, for I didn't get here for a pat on the back. I'll be fine, I'll be all right without that. So what if I lack the accent? Am I not still the same Khmer American of the 1.8 generation? Am I still not just another immigrant who twisted and sold her tongue just so the English words would have more value? This is the very same sentiment that has been eating up at our community. The constant showering of praises to one member while simultaneously ignoring another. My lack of accent and perceived acculturation has won them over. But what about the others? I've grown tired of the same social pattern. When one from the immigrant community catches a hold of that American dream, they lose sight of their community, their ethnic seams, genetically and intricately sewn to your skin. This is why I refuse to excuse our generation, because at bare minimum, the simple act of glancing past a mirror, how is it even possible to forget who you are and where your parents came from? Just like the Khmer proverb reads, we are pushed far because of our struggles. Immediately after overcoming hurdles, most of us forget that we were once. I'm so sick of these distinctions between classes, and aren't we inherently the same? Don't we all eat and defecate? The only distinction I see now is the achievement gap between us and our ancestors. Like the saying goes, don't reject the crooked road and don't take the straight one. Instead, take the one traveled by your ancestors. The awe-inspiring King Jabaraman VII built two of my favorite temples during the 12th century, the majestic Angkor Wat in Bayan with the mysterious and mesmerizing smiles I can stare at all day. Our ancestors were great craftsmen, architect, and mason, creating unique methods in their construction. Bricks held together not by mortars, but surprisingly vegetable compound. Apsara pillars and war murals carved from Gulain Mountain sandstones. Such vivid bas reliefs of angels and warriors covering the walls of Uncle, not an inch of ordinary. We have inherited their 6 centuries of religious and artistic passion. When I walk through those corridors of Uncle, I imagine myself listening to the conversations of our ancestors. Even though the temple was once the world's 7th wonder, now I'm standing here wondering, how would they feel about our parents' homeland, years of political turmoil and corruption, years of murderous regime claiming nationalist pride and priority, excusing themselves from killing their own people? We know we need to break this cycle of community distrust and constant gossip. Let's celebrate when one of our own achieves, and put behind us years of bitter envy. Let us all start to listen. Don't just spit out my pride. Set that aside. Let's do things instead to honor their work. Let's continue to our associations, network, and motivation. We need to stop inflating our egos, laying claim to our ancestors' work. We may never erect the same beautiful monuments, but we should all strive and thrive off of our own personal achievements. Listen to what the Buddha advises. No one saves us but ourselves. No one can and no one may. We ourselves must walk that path. Once we are able to lay down the line of having pride for our lives, we can then proudly scream out, "Khmer pride." Let's motivate ourselves and substantiate our personal history. For tales of our grandparents are just as important as those forced to us by what's valued by the economy. I know I am just as American as you, and I know I am just as Khmer, for I have fostered my personal philosophical values like a meticulous farmer tending to their rice paddies, sowing the seeds handed to me from my parents and protecting the fields from predators who will eat away at my resolve. I tend and I tend to family history because without it, nothing will be emotionally and spiritually reaped. So everyone, please tend to yourselves. Reflect on your tales. Deconstruct yourselves in order to fully see how you can piece together a true identity. No inner conflict or self-hatred. No misplaced anger, just living with substance. So long as my heart pumps blood to my veins, no matter my vision's condition, I've been losing my 20/20 since my teen years, but fortunately I've been seeing clearer. My body's eventual fail, one thing stays constant. I shall always be Gon Khmer, a granddaughter to my wise beyond words grandparents, a daughter to my selflessly loving parents, a sister to my sometimes annoying, but all the time supportive siblings, a niece and cousin to my abundant family here and overseas, a friend to my outrageous buddies. I am a vessel of my grandparents' stories, my family's tireless love, and my own special recipe. Now please listen carefully. I am Khmer, not hyphenated American. There's no division and no need for visible connection, because to me it's all one item. No matter my achievement or how far I'll go, I will never be able to repay my parents' sacrifices. Their dreams have been stolen by my prosperity here in America. I thrive because of them, and they smile because of me. This is the very least I can do, right? I am who I have become, not because of the places I've lived, but the spaces I've maintained in my head and heart for my family. They are the roots of me. They are my identity. Ja, Fama, I'll be listening. Okay.